Welp, I guess it's safe to say the MCU is back. What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Mar Blatt, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Let me adjust my mic here. Folks, summer movie season is now here. I told you guys that if you saw my last review of Sinners, and now we are keeping this vibe going in one of the first big blockbuster movies of May, Thunderbolts. First off, thank you for joining me today as I do this review, and I hope you keep enjoying the rest of the videos I make, because all I need you to do is like, comment, share, and subscribe on this video and the other videos that you will see. I know you will down the line here with Nerds in the Hood. I write back. I'm gonna let y'all know. Even if I get a lot of comments, I still write back when I can, unless the comment just is pointless. But whatever. Anyway, I want to get into this. I want to talk about this. This was actually, for me, a very interesting film, and I want to get into that. So this film is after years of different MCU films. Now, just last year, we had Deadpool and Wolverine, right? And Deadpool and Wolverine, in a way, brought the MCU back to some form of relevancy, some form of a good balanced time at the movie theater. I mean, and to some people, it wasn't even really one of their best efforts at an MCU film, but it was good. And we've been in this just regression. We've been in this slump of a hole in the past, however many years it's been. It's been like 5 or 6 years since Endgame ended. We've had 2 Spider-Man films. We've had Black Widow having a little, like, sort of a prequel, basically. We've had, different TV shows that have come and gone. And not a lot of them really was able to make you feel like, man, is the MCU, like, still here? You know what I mean? Like, it made you question that. It made you say, like, man, is the MCU finally taking that dive that we didn't want them to take? We don't know. But we had a feeling. And with DC on the horizon, with such shows as Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, just showing you just a glimpse of what can be done on television, and the Suicide Squad reboot giving you also a glimpse of what could be done in the theaters, DC is starting to make that comeback. Superman Legacy looks like it has the potential to be good and put up a good fight against not one, but 2 Marvel movies this summer. So the first one being Thunderbolts is definitely a nice welcome back for the MCU. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Daredevil was good, right? And not Daredevil, excuse me. Deadpool was good. Deadpool and Wolverine was good. Yes. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was also very good. So those 2 films, plus Spider-Man No Way Home, definitely made you feel like MCU was still here. But those were all 3 movies that were released at different time points of the 2020s. And they weren't films that you could sit there and go, oh, wow, like the MCU is here. Now, if they came out back to back to back, like year after year after year, then yeah, I'd be like, all right, the MCU is here, we out here. But they didn't. They were just 3 bright spots in an otherwise dark period for the MCU. So now we're back here. This might be the door that might open for the MCU to make that comeback, because we have this, and then in about a month or 2, in July actually, we have the Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you didn't see this film, just letting you know, spoilers ahead, you should probably go see this film before you go online. You should probably go see this film before you go on any website that involves Thunderbolts, whether it be YouTube, which you're watching me now, or Instagram, social media, anything like that. You should probably do yourself a favor and see this film first, and then you can go on and see the spoilers and the jokes that are going to come. That's what's going to happen. You already know the vibes. You don't need me to tell you it. But as usual, spoilers ahead. Let's go ahead and get into this. I'm not going to tell you the whole movie, but I do want to touch briefly on it. What I did like about this film, and let's go ahead and get that review out the way. This film is valid. Like I tell y'all with my Nerds in the Hood review board, this film is valid. So, one of the things I do like about this film is that it is a different form of a faction being built, right? when we saw Avengers, yes, it was a ragtag team up, right? It was a group of people that shouldn't be working together that worked well together. And then they were able to make several films together and work well. But what was different was that these were bad guys in that form. These were bad people. They've done things. They unfortunately unalived people. They did so many bad things and they didn't really feel any remorse by it. So that is why I think it's cool that the movie started off with Yelena being bored of being a bad guy. She's bored of doing assassination. She's bored of doing hit jobs. She's bored of doing cleanup. And when she meets Walker, who's also a good guy going bad, in that sense, he's tired of doing cleanup. He sounded a little bored, but he also wanted that redemption. He was tired of being this guy that was like, yeah, you're just a second-rate Captain America. Your family left you. You ain't nothing. You trash. He hated that. The only person who didn't seem to really hate their lives or really where it was going was Ghost. And yes, Red Guardian. But Red Guardian was also having it rough too. He wasn't the guy he once was that was getting all the fame and the glory. He was a dude living in America working as a limo driver. And he hated that job. He just was doing it to get by. So Ghost was cool with her job. She was going around. She had a little bit of abilities. Like, she was just doing her thing. So it really was the way they started, as opposed to the Avengers, who started off as several people that just were like, I could do this by myself if I really felt like it. Like, they were cocky, they were arrogant because they were dope in their abilities. You know what I mean? Like, Thor is a god. Hulk is an angry monster. He was, if anything, out of that group, he was the only one really going through something. Captain America lived through decades after being frozen in ice and was just having fun. Iron Man beat terrorists and was having fun. So it was like these group of people were good with their lives. And then they brought on others like Vision, who was just created out of nowhere, and Black Panther, who was a ruler. Like, they was good. Their lives was good versus these group of people who weren't up to no good. And their lives was dark. And I really like how they played on that with like the Sentry character coming in, and he had the power to make a person be in a dark void where they felt like they were seeing some of their lowest points in their life be repeated over and over and over again. And you got to see that from different people like Yelena, like Walker, like Valentina. Like, that to me was pretty dope because it was emphasizing on that. Like, we've seen rock bottom and we didn't know how to pick ourselves back up. So we just kept doing the same things we were doing over and over again just to get through every day until our day came. Speaking of days coming, I need MCU to give me a homegoing service for Miss Taskmaster. That was crazy. I'm assuming with all of these multiverses, we'll probably get another Taskmaster down the line, which is probably why we were getting rid of her. But damn, she went out dumb early in the movie, y'all. She went out like first 10, 15 minutes. I thought she was at least going to do a little bit of work, and she ain't do nothing. She got packed up by Ghost. That was crazy. Crazy. Fight scenes were really good. I definitely like when they all got packed up by the Sentry. I liked when they had their little fatal four-way match when it was Walker, aka former Captain America, Ghost, Taskmaster, and Yelena. I liked when they had that little mini brawl there too. But when they got packed up by Sentry, it was crazy. Sentry packed them boys up. He just stood there. It felt like, it reminded me a little bit of when in the show Invincible, when Omni-Man turned heel basically and fought the whole Guardians, and Guardians could not stop him, and they was trying. They was throwing punches, and he was just like eating them. And that's how it reminded me. Like, nobody in their crew could really touch him, and he was putting the hurting on them, belts to asses. He was just putting the hurting on them, and they couldn't do anything to stop him. And I thought that fight was pretty cool. Also like the fact that it was in Avengers Tower, and Avengers Tower seems to be the home of cookings, because if we all remember years ago in the first Avengers, the Hulk put that work on Loki when he was like, I'm a god, and he smashed him around, and Loki was just like, oh, he was like, I'm gone. It was basically the same thing. Sentry didn't body anybody, but he put the hurting on him, then almost put the hurting on Valentina. So that was pretty cool. Let me talk about Valentina for a second. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is usually just awesome, and it's no different here. Everything I've seen that woman play in, she's done such a good job. I'm not just talking about Seinfeld. The new Avengers are old Christine, Veep, What was that movie I saw? And it was about like death and stuff. And like there was like a parrot or something. I think it was, yeah, Enough Said. Was that called? Yeah, I think it was it. No, it wasn't Enough Said. That was about divorce. My bad. I'm bugging. Tuesday. There we go. I saw it randomly one day. You know how you be flipping through your cable channels? I'm sounding like an old man. Anyway, I randomly stumbled upon that movie and it was really good. You should go see it. It's an A24 joint. You know, A24 be all over the place. But anyway, she played a hell of a job. She was the opposite of Nick Fury. As you know, Nick Fury assembled his team with, like, the government was on his side in that sense. Yeah, they had their ups and downs and they fought them in every way. And I could be wrong, so feel free to come at me in the comments and go, that's not true. But from what I've seen in the MCU, not the comics, Nick Fury always had people have his back. They was cool with it until things wasn't cool anymore. And then they had to be like, look, man, y'all wildin'. And he was there to put everybody in check and make sure these heroes never turned on him. Even though in Captain America Civil War it might have been a little different, but he was still there to make sure of it. Now, you go to this movie, and this movie shows a lady who wasn't trying to do that. She was trying to always make it look like she had the upper hand, and she did. Even at the end, when they thought they had her, and I even sat there and I was like, man, how they gonna get revenge on this lady right now? She ain't got no powers. She ain't got no abilities. She ain't even skilled in fighting. And she made them follow her into a press conference where she was like, yeah, these are the new Avengers, which is why they're even called the Thunderbolts in the first place. That was just a temporary name, and she threw it on them. Y'all not the Thunderbolts no more. Y'all the new Avengers. So yes, for those who are wondering, in the comics, it is a whole different story. Thunderbolts is a whole different storyline. That's fine. Y'all gotta remember, in these MCU movies that we watching, they not gonna be frame for frame, panel for panel, the straight source of adaptation. Is going to be their own telling, especially now that Disney has control of MCU. It's going to be their own telling what they want to do with these movies. So Thunderbolts was a nice way to group all these people together, and then the new Avengers was a nicer way to group all of these people together. Because now, if you watch the end credit scene, which, by the way, is the longest end credit scene in MCU history. I believe it's like almost 3 minutes or something like that. I didn't even realize that. I thought there were other scenes that were longer, but I find out that that is not true. There is a mid-credit scene and there's a post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene, I'm glad it is a mid-credit scene. I would have been very upset if I waited till the end of the post-credits to see that scene, because it was a quick-ass scene with the Red Guardian. It was funny, but it was like, I'm glad this was mid-credits. Post-credit scene is really dope. And again, if you watch this far, that means you are cool with getting spoiled if you have not seen the movie. But what questions does this raise? One, what is going to happen with this new Avengers group? Because right now, the new Avengers consist of the Thunderbolts, right? And we wonder, is Bob going to be able to control his powers to go into the upcoming fights that are going to happen with Doomsday and others? Is Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, going to be cool with joining forces with these new Avengers? Because he's trying to take the Avengers name back, trying to use copyright and everything, because they left him in charge of this. So they want to see where they can go with this new Avengers initiative. So these different questions. And of course, the biggest question that we all waited for at the end of the post-credit scene, what is going to happen now that the Fantastic Four has arrived in what we believe is Earth 616? Actually, it is. It is Earth 616. What are they going to do now that they showed up? Now we have to wait. And this was a beautiful tie-in for Marvel, because you see this movie, you see that part at the end, and you go, okay, now I have to go see Fantastic Four First Steps to see how they even got to that part, which I hope they don't make it a post-credit scene. And if they do, I hope they tie it in and go from there. But all in all, this was a fun film. It was a great way to get the MCU back. And now we're going to get 2 back-to-back movies. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I have real hope and faith that this is going to be the best Fantastic film movie they ever made. As you already know, we've done 2 attempts at Fantastic Four, one with Jessica Alba in it and one with Michael B. Jordan in it. And both of them fell flat. Although Rise of the Silver Surfer wasn't horrible, but either way, it wasn't that great. So this might be the one to set things apart. This might be the one to change things. Hoping and praying. But yes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus played a hell of a Valentina. Excuse me. Let me make sure I'm getting her name right, because she definitely checked somebody else in the beginning. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And they even showed her childhood. Her childhood was crazy too. She accidentally told the ops. The ops tricked her into being like, "Yo, where your pops live?" Basically, she got hit with the California stuff. Where you stay? Where your pops stay at? She was like, "Yeah, he right over there. He up the road." She went home. Pops was like, "Nah, it's cool, man. You told the ops, just hide in the basement." The ops was like, "Nah, we ain't even about that." Pack Pops up. And then we don't know the rest of her story, but we know that was some of her story. So I thought that was cool. Also, other people I just saw in the MCU for the first time. My man Wendell Pierce played a congressman named Gary. I'm always seeing him in a lot of shows. He's been in some of the greatest hood shows ever, The Wire and Power, Raising Kanan. So he does this thing there. So to see him in the MCU is pretty cool. And I know I'm going to kill her last name. So I'm just going to say Geraldine, and I'm going to put her name up on the screen somewhere. You'll see it, because I am going to, I'm gonna take a swing. This one nothing. Yeah, that's a horrible swing. Okay, I'm not even gonna edit it out. That's just me trying. Anyway, her name is Geraldine. Let's just say that. That's her first government name. She played Valentina's assistant named Mel. There's a full name there, but we're gonna go with Mel. IMDb goes with Mel. I'm going with Mel. She was funny to me because she was like, they were bringing everything in at the same time, and she was one of those people that was just like, all right, I'm with this, but I'm also on some like, yo, my boss is wilding, and she tried to get Bucky, aka Winter Soldier, on like her side and stuff, and he used her, which was smart. And Valentina, I told y'all, she always 3 steps ahead. She was like, yo, you want to be this loyal fam? I bet. But we going to see. And at the end, she saved her life. And she was like, I knew you was loyal. I knew it. Which was super dope. But again, this explored a lot of those things that weren't really explored in the MCU. Like what would happen, which is what Nick Fury always said. I'm here to make sure that y'all don't wild out. Right? Y'all don't go rogue and wild out. And that's what was out to happen. The Sentry was going to go rogue and be like, I can really do what I want. I have godlike powers. And you said I'm stronger than all the Avengers, and the Avengers has a god in it. So that means I'm stronger than a god. And she realized like, oh, this dude is too strong. He could have easily taken her out. But he was a human who was turned into this. So he's going to have those human emotions where it's like, does it make sense to body him? Because once he realized the Thunderbolts were no match for him, he didn't even chase them. He didn't even go after them. He just let them escape. And she was like, why are you letting them go? They need to be eliminated. And they're like, he's like, they're no threat to me. Like, I could take them out any day of the week. So I'm going to let them rock. And she was like, you are wild. But I thought like all of that was fire. But it just goes to say that this was a pretty good movie. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was good for what it was. It was good for this, like, basically the B version of the Avengers. They even said it as a joke in one of the ending credit scenes. It said B Vengers, because this is a real ragtag team up. Avengers was like, all right, this is your favorite heroes from your favorite movies that you just saw, and they joined in forces. Versus these were people that you saw and they were douchebags in the other movies, but you were kind of okay with it because you realized like Ghost just had it rough, and Yelena also had it rough. But we loved her the most, which is why she was the central character of this movie. So these are all people that just had it rough, and we were kind of like, you kind of annoying, but I rocks with you. And then her and her dad was the 2 people we loved the most. Also, for those of you who thinking there's going to be a big fight scene at the end, I'm just going to put this in ways that you Naruto fans can understand. Talk no jutsu. Yes, right. Talk no jutsu is used heavily throughout the film. It is a thing that really upsets me sometimes, but you know, a lot of these movies, you ain't gonna see somebody fighting it out to save the day. It doesn't happen like that. There were MCU movies where they fought and then talked it out, like Black Panther did it, a few others did it, but you ain't gonna see that here. You're gonna see talk no jutsu, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, because there was no real actual villain in this film. The Sentry wasn't designed to. He was designed to be a hero, but he just got caught up in somebody else's mess. And he was a pawn in somebody else's plan. So he wasn't really the villain. There was no real villain. So you have to go with that. It was just a person that they saw was also being used as a tool. And they had to help him understand his identity. Like, you're not a tool, you're something special. And now they can go with that. So again, I just want to see where they go with this new group of Avengers and stuff of that nature. I want to see what Sam Wilson's Avengers are looking like, since he assembled his own group and he's trying to fight for the name. Because I know it's just him and his homeboy from the Brave New World movie, but who else did he recruit? That's the real question. Did he go back and get Ant-Man? Did he go and get somebody else? Did he go street level? Also, fun fact, this movie takes place a little while after Captain America Brave New World. I don't know how much longer after, but it takes place a little while after. And the Fantastic Four showing up and the post-credit scene actually takes over a year after the events of the Thunderbolts. So my question is, if Sentry came and turned New York into this void of a city, did he do it before the events of Daredevil Born Again or after? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he turned all of New York into a void, will they explore this in Daredevil Born Again? They probably won't. But I would like that continuity to matter, because if it's happening while Daredevil is on the streets fighting, then y'all get what I'm saying. Then that means that at some point he should have ran into the situation. Yeah, he don't fight crime in Manhattan all the time, but that void swept what it looked like most of New York City. So maybe he should have got I don't know. I think that would be cool. I know they don't like to mix the street level MCU with the whole expanding universe of the MCU. So these are things I just want to see explored. And if it don't get explored, I ain't beefing it. But I do like this movie. I think this is a good way to kick off summer. Sinners was really the greatest way to kick off the summer, but it was right in between spring and summer, where I feel like Thunderbolts is also between spring and summer, but they're going to count this as that summer movie season, because this movie's going to be in theaters probably till mid-June at the most, before it heads to Disney+. So if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, go see it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This movie is not that bad. It's valid to me. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's whack, it's this, it's that, because they focus on the comics. And we focus so much on the adaptation, we lose sight of if a movie's actually entertaining or not. And that hurts. That hurts the fans. That hurts the people who make it. So I'm going to try my best to give something the benefit of the doubt instead of focusing on if the source material is really there. If they change it, then yeah, I'll look to see how bad they changed it. But I won't let it take away of if I found it entertaining or not. That's all I'm going to say, But yeah, again, movie was good. I thought there were a lot of funny moments. Some people, when I went to the theater, was laughing way too hard for jokes that weren't that funny. But it's your enjoyment versus mine. So be that as it may, go see Thunderbolts. Valid film. Great way to kick off the summer. Your summer as well. Nerds in the Hood, we out of here. Follow me on all social media. Use the link tree in the description. You could click on it and follow me everywhere and check out what I have to offer and the content that I'm brewing all the time. Nerds in the Hood. I'll catch y'all next time, people. I'm about to go into the void and think back of all the dark times I had watching Knicks games. I'll catch y'all later, people. Peace.